Hey everyone, and welcome! If you're getting ready for the NCLEX, you know growth and development questions are a really big deal. Truly mastering them is absolutely key to understanding your pediatric patients and, of course, picking the right interventions. So let's dive into our high-yield guide on this essential topic.
So here's our game plan. We're going to take this chronologically. First, we'll build our foundation with the big theories. Then, we're going to walk through each stage of childhood, from tiny infants all the way to adolescence, and see how a kid changes through all these different lenses. And then, we'll wrap it all up with a super powerful strategy to help you clear these questions on your exam.
All right, let's get into it. Before we can even think about assessing a child, we need the right toolkit, right? So this first part is all about building that solid foundation with the core theories of development. So you might be thinking, why do I have to learn 4 different theories? Well, think about it. A child isn't just one thing. They are growing emotionally, mentally, and morally all at the same time. Each one of these theories gives us a totally unique and vital lens to see the whole patient, not just a little piece of them. Let's meet our guides on this journey. You've got Erikson, who's all about our social and emotional challenges. Then there's Piaget, who maps out how our actual thinking evolves. Freud, of course, looks at those deep-seated drives. And finally, Kohlberg, who tracks how we build our moral compass. Put them all together, and they give us that crucial 360-degree view of a child. Okay, let's start at the very beginning, with infancy. An infant is basically a bundle of reflexes and needs. They're completely dependent on their caregivers, and they learn everything about the world through their senses. And here's what's so cool. See how all 4 theories are really pointing to the same core idea. Erikson's trust versus mistrust is the main event here. The baby is constantly asking, can I count on you? Will my needs be met? That trust is built during Piaget's sensory-motor stage, where reality is only what they can see, hear, and touch. Freud's oral stage shows how this is all centered on basic needs like feeding. And Kohlberg just confirms it. There's no concept of right or wrong yet. It's all about what feels good or bad right now. So what does this actually look like on the floor? An infant learns by doing. Grabbing things, tasting things, seeing things. A huge cognitive milestone to remember here, or really the lack of one, is object permanence. You know, out of sight, out of mind. If they can't see you, you basically don't exist. This means your #1 job as a nurse is prompt, consistent care. It's not just about ticking off tasks. You are literally building their foundational trust in the world. And of course, with all that sensory exploring, safety is everything. 'Cause absolutely everything goes in the mouth. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Simple things like holding and comforting an infant after they get a shot are direct interventions. They are how you help them win that trust versus mistrust crisis. You're teaching them, action by action, that the world is a safe and caring place. And this is where things get really interesting. That totally dependent baby starts to move, to explore, and to develop a will of their very own. And that, my friends, takes us right into early childhood. Get ready, because this next stage is an absolute explosion of change. We're going to cover both toddlers and preschoolers here, as they navigate this brand new world of independence, control, and some very interesting me-first thinking.
Just look at this table. You can see how fast they evolve. The toddler, from about 18 months to 3 years, is all about me and mine. Erikson calls this autonomy, their drive for independence. And Freud connects it to the anal stage, which is all about gaining control over their own body, like with potty training. Then, the preschooler, from 3 to 6, starts to develop purpose. Erikson calls this initiative. Cognitively, Piaget puts them both in the pre-operational stage, meaning their thinking isn't logical yet. And for Kohlberg, morality is simple. Either avoid punishment or get a reward. That's it. So clinically, you're going to see toddlers doing what's called parallel play. That's when they play alongside other kids, but not really with them. They're still in their own little bubble. Preschoolers, though, they start directing the play and asking why about, well, everything. So your nursing focus has to support this new independence. Letting them make simple choices, like, do you want the red or the blue medicine cup, is a perfect intervention. It feeds right into their growing sense of autonomy and initiative. Okay. Here's a classic NCLEX-style scenario that puts theory right into practice. This is a super common concern parents have. So how do you respond using what you know about development? So what's your role here? It's not to pathologize or make a big deal out of it. It's to educate. According to Freud, this is a totally normal and expected part of the phallic stage.
As the nurse, your job is to normalize this for the parent, which calms their anxiety and helps them respond in a healthy way.
All right, now we enter the world of school, friends, and rules. The child's focus shifts in a huge way, moving from the family to the wider social world, where being competent and achieving things becomes the name of the game.
The big theme here is becoming a productive member of society. For Erikson, it's industry versus inferiority. It's all about feeling capable. Piaget's concrete operational stage gives them the mental tools to finally think logically about real, tangible things. Freud says this is the latency stage, where other energies get funneled into school and hobbies, and Kohlberg's conventional morality kicks in. Now they follow the rules not just to avoid punishment, but to please others and be seen as a good kid.
This is just a perfect example of theory in action. For a school-aged kid, being hospitalized can trigger a huge sense of inferiority. I mean, they're missing school, they're falling behind their friends. So encouraging them to do schoolwork isn't just busy work, it is a therapeutic intervention. It helps them maintain their developmental progress and that all-important sense of competence.
And finally, we arrive at adolescence. This is a time of incredible change, and it's all centered around one of life's biggest, messiest, most important questions. Who am I?
You know, what's really fascinating here is how Piaget's stage is kind of like the key that unlocks all the others. This brand new ability to think abstractly, the formal operation stage, is the engine that drives everything else. It lets the teen think about their place in the world, which leads straight to Erikson's search for identity. It also lets them think about complex moral issues, developing what Kohlberg calls post-conventional morality, which is based on their own principles, not just what society says.
So in your nursing practice, you have to respect this drive for identity and independence. It's non-negotiable. Providing privacy, speaking to them directly without their parents in the room, these actions acknowledge their emerging adulthood. You have to remember, you're not just treating a child anymore. You're partnering with a young adult who is building their own values and making their own choices.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, so let's bring it all home. How do we boil all this down into a practical, repeatable strategy for nailing those NCLEX questions every single time? Here it is. It's a simple three-step process. First, always identify the patient's age. That tells you what stage you're in. Second, recall the core task of that stage. Are they working on trust, autonomy, industry, identity? And finally, just scan the answer choices and pick the one that directly supports the child in achieving that specific developmental task. It's a foolproof way to connect theory directly to practice. And I'll leave you with this final thought to take with you into your practice. Being sick and being in a hospital, that's not a normal part of childhood. It is a profound stressor. So think about it. How can being in a hospital, with its loss of control, being separated from friends, all the fear, how can that challenge or even set back a child's development? As a nurse, your role isn't just to heal the body, but to fiercely protect their developmental journey.